There is a new terror study out, a bit frightening too, getting our attention today, warning the U.S. of a clear and present danger on a massive scale. It's called an electromagnetic pulse attack, otherwise known as EMP. R.P. Eddies, former director of terrorism of the White House's National Security Council, here to talk through it. Good morning, R.P. Welcome back.
Morning, Bill.
How would you describe this EMP?
Well, an electromagnetic pulse is a result of a nuclear explosion or another weapon that releases a wave of electrons that will fry every electronic gizmo or tool that civilization needs to survive.
Who would likely use a weapon like that?
Well, we know that major civilizations, major nations have built electromagnetic pulse weapons. They're potentially a very effective weapon, but they're not that complicated to make, and it's likely that terrorists could actually make some of the weapons, or countries like Iran and North Korea could use their nuclear weapons to create an electromagnetic pulse.
Well, how do we defend against something like this then?
It's very hard to defend against the missile or against the weapon once it's been released. You'd have to harden all the electronics using something called Faraday cages, which is a multi-year, multi-billion-dollar process to protect our electrical grid and all of our electronics.
Is that even possible, R.P.?
It's possible, but it's not going to happen right now because the threat isn't considered by lawmakers or folks in the electrical power industry to be grave enough to need that kind of
Well, that was my next question. How much attention is the U.S. military giving it?
I think the U.S. military is thinking about this, and they have for decades, because actually some of our own planes were harmed by electromagnetic pulse during nuclear tests in the 40s and the 50s. So we kind of found out by mistake about this reality. So they're paying attention to it from a continuity perspective, but that doesn't mean that civilization in this country is paying attention to it.
Well, you think about this for a moment. How much of our lives are run on electricity?
That's right.
Just about everything, right?
Yeah, if you think about the effect of an electromagnetic pulse, it would be a devastating impact. Not only would the power grid be out, it would be out for probably months, but every piece of electronics that we use, from pacemakers to phones to cars to gasoline pumps to water pumps, would all be fried.
Well, that's about everything, huh?
Yeah.
Do we know, or can we pinpoint which groups or which countries might have this already?
Well, as I said, there's a threat that you don't need to build an electromagnetic pulse weapon specifically. You can use a nuclear weapon, and you don't have to have as accurate or as long-range a missile to deliver it. So Iran could use a barge, which they've tested before, park it off of the United States somewhere and use one of their Scud missiles to shoot a nuclear weapon over the United States.
So your point is, if you're nuclear capable, you're also capable with an EMP.
That's right. That's absolutely correct. The bad news is you can also build an EMP weapon much more easily than actually all it takes to build a nuclear weapon. You effectively explode you explode a special magnetometer, and you create an EMP weapon that way as well.
R.P. Eddy, thanks for bringing it to our attention, okay?
Okay.
All right.